Most shows make or break their audience with the first episode in the series, especially if the episodes are only released once a week, unlike the binge style most streaming series utilize. If that initial episode doesn't hook you in, it's highly unlikely anyone comes back to give the series a second glance with subsequent episodes. And some shows come out swinging, delivering you intriguing characters, tense action, or captivating drama that just leaves your mouth watering and wondering what's going to happen next. Before we begin, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Every new sub helps us achieve our goal and keeps us motivated to create new content. With that being said, I'm your host, Jamie, and here are 10 best TV pilot episodes. Number 1. Fringe. Simply titled Pilot, this episode introduced us to Olivia Dunham, a star agent at the FBI, who gets called in by her boss, Philip Royals, to investigate a strange incident that happened aboard a commercial flight. Basically, the plane flew from Germany with a full passenger load and landed itself at Boston's Logan Airport. Only all the passengers and crew have mysteriously disappeared. After finding some evidence using the crew manifest, Olivia and her partner and occasional lover, John Scott, they track down a suspect, and Agent Scott suffers strange chemical burns after an explosion goes off in a storage unit. Since this is no ordinary chemical weapon, Olivia must seek out Dr. Walter Bishop, a brilliant scientist who once worked on secret government experiments before going mad and ending up being institutionalized, in hopes he can cure him. In order to get him out of the facility, though, she needs the aid of Bishop's son Peter, as only direct family members can be put in charge of his care. From that point on, stranger things come to pass as Walter reopens his lab in the basement of Harvard, and something called the pattern becomes part of Olivia's deeper investigation. As it seems, this isn't the only strange case recently to befuddle the FBI. Thus, Fringe Division is created. It's basically X-Files, but even more high-octane and also darker and yet highly emotional. Brilliantly acted, the series only got better from there on. That is, until cancellation was waved in their faces, and the series went down a route similar to what Sliders did, by having a singular supervillain at the heart of it all, and yeah, the less said about that, the better. But the first 3 seasons were amazing. Check out the series over on Prime, Max, or Apple TV. Number 2, Lost. Right off the bat, it relates to audiences, at least at the time. Cramming onto a commercial flight, ready to go to whatever destination, with the same drama most people have to deal with. Cram seats, trying to stuff your luggage into overhead bins, take off your shoes and belt to step through the detector, etc. But then it ramps up to 11, sending the plane spiraling out of control and crashing into some unnamed island way off course. Miraculously, there are survivors, all spread across the beaches and nearby jungles. Already, you've got the audience hooked, because how will they get rescued? How are they going to treat the injured, etc.? But the real kicker comes at the end of part 2. I should mention the pilot was presented in 2 parts, almost like a full movie. But there's something non-human and mysterious living on the island. A strange, almost dinosaur-like roar and crazy ticking, able to knock down trees like a massive beast is roaming around out there. It's Gilligan's Island, but like if they crashed into Ela Nebula from Jurassic Park. And that's pretty much what went through audiences' heads when they first watched these episodes. Say what you will about this series as a whole. Some love it, and some absolutely hate it. But that pilot had everyone hooked right from the beginning. You can stream the whole series over on Hulu, Apple TV, or Amazon Prime. Number 3, Breaking Bad. The literal first shots of this episode see a man in his tighty-whities standing next to a crashed RV on some desert road in the middle of New Mexico with a Desert Eagle gripped tightly in his hands. Suddenly, flashback, cut to a middle-aged man working at a car wash and teaching chemistry at a local high school, living a relatively normal life with his wife and son in a modest home. Talk about whiplash. As events build up through the episode, we learn that Walter White, the man in the underwear, has been diagnosed with cancer and will most likely succumb to its effects. And yet, all he will be able to leave behind for his family is an expired life insurance policy and some pension from his time as a teacher and whatnot. He begins to panic, and after learning how much money the drug trade makes, specifically on selling crystal meth, through an old student of his named Jesse Pinkman, he offers him a deal. He'll use his own knowledge of chemistry to cook up a safe and pure batch of crystal meth, split the profits with Jesse so that way he can leave some money for his own family. But it's only supposed to be a one-time thing. Of course, this all backfires because seeing how pure Walter is able to get the crystal meth, the dealers above Jesse don't want him to stop cooking, and things just spiral out of control from there, leading back to the opening scene of the episode and watching all that chaos unfold in real time. You can't help but instantly be hooked, as both Walter and Jesse have such unique and charismatic personalities, and you just have to know how far they will take this. One of the rare few series out there that didn't really have a bad season throughout its entire run. Definitely head over to Netflix, Apple TV, or Prime to binge it all. Number 4, Westworld. It starts off like some unassuming western, aboard an old coal train heading through the open west to some destination in the new frontier, where the promises of adventure, gold, and cheap land draw in crowds by the thousands to claim their piece of the American dream. We focus on one particular individual as he disembarks in a small town. Apparently, he's here to become a lawman of sorts and clean up the riffraff, when he spots a porcelain-skinned beauty just across the dirt road. Everything that you're witnessing feels straight out of a classic western. That is, until later that evening he is gunned down by the man in black. Well, there have been moments where some of the town's visitors had been acting kind of strange, behaving in a way that wouldn't fit even in the Wild West. You still felt immersed in the world, and all of that comes crashing down once you get a look behind the curtain and see how it's all just one giant theme park. The brash young man who was murdered in cold blood was just a robot, a host as they call it. And after a few quick repairs, he's good as new and back on the train in the morning. For sci-fi enthusiasts, this is the idea behind creating cyborgs, to entertain and do hard labor for us. And to see it presented this way is somehow very believable that you want to keep watching to find out more about how they did it. It's just like Jurassic Park, but with animatronic people rather than dinos. Head over to Max to stream the whole series. Number 5, Game of Thrones. The opening moments of this show see a few men dressed in medieval garb, trudging through the snow and telling some local stories about what might lurk out in the dark forest. As the others make fun of the superstitious beliefs, suddenly a ghostly figure comes out and attacks them, sending them all fleeing. A few moments later, one of the soldiers stumbles upon his comrade, only to see his head get removed and tossed at him, like some kind of warning. Cut to the introduction of the Stark family. The heroes of the show, no doubt. The guys who will fight off this evil and bring peace to the kingdom. At least as far as we knew at the time, anyway. We also meet the ruling royal family, Robert Baratheon, his wife Cersei Lannister, her son Joffrey Baratheon, and her brothers, Jaime and Tyrion Lannister. King Robert is here on urgent business. The late Jon Arryn is dead, and he needs Ned to come to King's Landing to become the new hand. While Sansa Stark is absolutely captivated by the royal family, the rest of the Starks aren't so keen on them, and we get our first taste of the Lannisters' true faces when young Brandon climbs the watchtower only to see Cersei and her brother Jaime in the throes of passion. Before he is caught, and then shoved out of the window, falling to his inevitable doom. Riveting stuff that pulls you right in. Make sure to hop over to Max to check this series out.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Number 6, Mad Men. It's 1960. We find Don Draper in the bar lounge down in Manhattan, contemplating on how to advertise cigarettes to the masses in a world that's growing increasingly aware of the dangers of smoking. We also meet Peggy Olson, a secretary at Sterling Cooper. Her first day on the job, getting sexually harassed, but otherwise keeping that wide-eyed, sunny disposition at all the excitement at working in the Big Apple. She is advised by Joan Holloway to take advantage of her sexuality, and thus goes to see a gynecologist to get a prescription for Enovid, an early form of birth control. During an exec meeting later, Don pulls a game-winning hand with the slogan, "It's toasted," which wins over the cigarette company, and he goes out with another colleague, Pete, who is on the verge of getting married, but still has a wandering eye. Pete, after a night of heavy drinking, shows up later at Peggy's house for a little after-hours action, and she lets him in. All the intrigue and absolute smarm that oozes from this initial episode just drags you in like a cool rush of nicotine. Get intoxicated with this series yourself over on AMC Plus, Billo, Sling TV, Amazon Prime, and Apple TV. Number 7, This Is Us. When you turn 30, you start to feel less invulnerable, but you also feel like you finally made it to adulthood. You've got life experience, and the friendships you've made and kept so far are the friends you'll have for life. All that changes when you cross the 35-year mark, though. and you feel like you're on a downward path into old age. Parts of your body begin to ache from the simplest thing. You start looking at the younger generations coming up as if they don't understand anything and spout nothing but nonsense. And you're just tired all the time. Because life has responsibilities and it never lets up. This Is Us kicks off just a year after that hump, at the 36th birthday party of all the main characters. While they tell jokes about some of the good old days, many begin to feel that tug of darkness from wishing they had those days back. Maybe because they would have done something differently, maybe because they wish they could do the things they could back then, not having a care in the world, just enjoying life from one experience to the next. To most of us, this is all relatable, and with a diverse cast of characters, you'll find yourself in at least one of them, which is the show's greatest hooks: commiseration. Sometimes a show comes along and says all the things we're feeling that we wish we could just blurt out and have someone listen to. But you can see this excellent series and get deep into your own feels over on Netflix, Hulu, Peacock, Sling TV, Apple TV, and Fubo TV. Number 8, Friday Night Lights. Football, the kind with the egg-shaped pigskin, is heavily ingrained in American culture, especially down south in Texas. It's practically a religion there, and that's exactly what this show captures. It kicks off right away. Eric Taylor is the new coach for a local high school, and all eyes are on him. Literally. The school has a real shot at the championship this year, with some big names on the roster being scouted for the NFL, so the pressure is on. However, because the town is so obsessed with the game, the players are treated like gods, which is a huge deterrent to their personalities, as the fame easily goes to their young minds and they begin to act out in uncontrollable ways. Wild parties with heavy drinking, high testosterone brags and brawls, and unprotected sex run rampant throughout the team. The pilot bounces between all these characters, establishing their roles on the team and showing their daily life, as well as how the parents love to bribe or interfere with the coach's life. And the cast nails it perfectly. At times, it almost feels like a documentary of American fame and fortune zealotry. Make sure to log on to Netflix, Prime, or Apple TV to check this series out. Number 9, Arrested Development. Right off the bat, this show's mockumentary style, with a kind of Hamlet-esque fourth wall break from time to time by some of the characters, instantly pulls you in, making you a part of this dysfunctional family. Sure, it's filled with satirical gags, heavy sarcasm, and some truly outrageous scenarios. It's also quite a deep commentary on American excess, of how money can easily corrupt an individual, and that not all who are rich and famous are decent human beings. We often put these people on a pedestal and celebrity worship them as if they can do no wrong, while forgetting they are just as human as we are, and more often than not, even with good intentions, can do really stupid or selfish things. While all the characters are eccentric in some way, the pilot really draws you in with the relationship between Michael Bluth and his son George Michael. They almost seem normal in comparison to everyone else. You wonder how they even survived this family. And that's exactly what hooks you in to make you binge the rest of the series. Hop on over to Netflix, Disney Plus, Prime, or Apple TV to check this show out. Number 10, The Good Place. Imagine being a complete and utter piece of shit human being, and then you die by getting knocked into traffic by a runaway shopping cart and getting run over by a truck carrying boner pills. Then suddenly, you find yourself at the pearly gate. And what's that? You're going to heaven? I guess the Holy Father is more forgiving than you thought. Well, when they start listing off all the accomplishments you made in life that got you a place here, you start to realize they made a mistake. Someone with the same name as you died at the same time, and you took their place while they are trapped in hell. So what do? Tell the head angel of the mistake and risk being sent to hell yourself? Or do you pretend to be all that good shit they were talking about and making the best of this situation? This is the premise the show starts you off with, introducing colorful characters, each with their own unique affectations, and the quick-witted script rolls along, jumping from one laugh to the next, while still instilling some kind of suspense level in the audience to see if Eleanor, the main character, will be found out. Just wait till you get a few episodes in and the show takes a huge left turn. No spoilers here. You can watch it for yourself over on Netflix, Amazon Prime, or Apple TV. Thanks for checking out the video. Did we leave any shows off the list? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to tap that bell icon to stay up to date with our latest releases. You can reach out to us on Twitter or X at StudiosFat, or chat with us on Discord, linked below. Make sure to check out our very own merch store located at fatninja.shop. All proceeds go towards our next film project, so we'd greatly appreciate it. I've been your host, Jamie. Thanks again. See you in the next one.